Good day, class. So, right now we are in the lesson 2 of our Understanding Culture, Society, and Politics subjects. So, this time we will tackle about the concept, aspects, and changes in of culture, society, and politics. Okay. So, when we say culture, society, and politics, these are major concepts in the social sciences. So, these terminologies help explain different disciplines like political science, history, psychology, and economics. So in this video, these topics from the basic framework of sociological, anthropological, and political perspectives will be discussed. So while we explore these lessons, let us emphasize that culture, society, and politics are intertextual concepts, meaning they are interconnected. So they influence one another. They are shaped and explained by sociologists and anthropologists. So political views also change because culture changes through time. For example, when national leaders are replaced or when nations are influenced by others, that's when political and culture are becoming interconnected. So, mao nga kinahanglan nga lawom atong pagsabot sa atong culture ug sa atong society kay these topics are very complicated in nature. So now we start with the concept of nature. Okay, so cultural anthropologists study all aspects of culture. But what exactly is culture? So when students are asked what culture means, they usually say food, clothing, religion, language, traditions, art, and music. So these things are correct, but culture in its sense is much deeper. So it is a powerful defining characteristic of a human individual, human groups that shapes our behaviors, relationships, and how we view the society. Okay, so in simple terms, culture is a way of life. Mo nitong paagi sa pagkinabuhi o pagunahuna. So, for example, no, kanang mo bless tas tong ginikanan, that's culture. Mag-pray before mo kaon, that's culture. Fiesta sa barangay, that's the culture of our community. So, the word culture comes from the Latin word cultus, C-U-L-T-U-S, meaning growing or refining. So culture includes what humans have created, material and non-material, and is passed from one generation to another. So we have here the types of culture. We have material versus non-material. So when we say material culture, these are the tangible or physical objects. Say for example, schools, materials, churches, temples, factories, homes. Okay, and when we say non-material culture, these are ideas, beliefs, values, things that are abstract. Say for example, symbols, language, values, norms, respect, prayers, and so on and so forth. Mao na ang types of culture. Okay, this time we proceed with the aspects of culture. So culture is diverse because of its aspects that develops man's social interaction. So these aspects are actions, language, okay, actions like regime, justice, organization, work, etc. We have language, mother tongue, our language or our dialect. We have values, the validity, the values, opinions, laws, space, identity, history, and our experiences. So, atong identity, makita sa tong sinultian, kinaiya, o batasan. Mabitaw nga lahi-lahi ta sa Manila, lahi ta sa taga Mindanao, lahi ta sa tanan nga mga Filipinos. Okay. So, now we proceed with the philosophical perspective of the what do we say here, anthropologist. So Edward Burnett Tyler said that complex Culture is that complex whole which includes knowledge, belief, art, law, morals, custom, and any other capabilities and habits acquired by man as a member of society. So, meaning, Edward Bernard Tyler sees culture as a whole, wherein we use it to share our belief, our arts, our laws, our morals. Whereas Robert Ronald Marett said that this tend to define culture in terms of communicable intelligence, shared ideas, communicated ideas. Okay? So, muna para ni Marett ang culture, while si Radcliffe Brown, para niya, this is the cultivation, the process of transmitting and acquiring traditions as a result of which the society is perpetuated. Meaning, the culture here, according to Brown, involves the transmission or the passing down of traditions from one generation to another. Okay, so now let's proceed with the general characteristics of culture. So here are the characteristics of the culture. So first is culture is learned and acquired. So ako na siya i-summarize. So dili man ta mataw nga kabalo mo mano, di ba? So meaning ang kana siya nga pag-bless, the action of mo bless ka sa imong ginikanan, ato nang gituon, it's either sa tuang cousins or sa ato ang parents. Kay nakita nato nga mo ni lang gibuhat sa ilapong parents. So that is the example of culture being learned and acquired. Okay, next we have culture is shared by a group of people. Okay, say for example, fiesta sa inyong lugar. So dili ra usa ang magbuot, tibuok barangay ang mag-uban magsabot. Example, 9 days 9 nights na, no? So mag-planning mo, isip usa ka sityo, usa ka komunidad kung unsay may tabo sa first, second, up until to the last. Iyon ana, it is shared by a group of people. Next, culture is cumulative. So different information exemplified in culture can be passed starting with one age then or next age. So for example, ang harana sa una kay sikat, karon texting o chat na. So nagkadugang ang kausaban. That is culture is cumulative. Okay, same ra gyapon ang uyab but different in form. Okay, next, culture changes. Of course, we cannot the culture continuously changes. Okay, sa una atong duwa kay patintero, takyan, taxi, apir-apir, karon online games na, nagka-improve ang mga bata. Okay, next we have culture is dynamic. So for example, ang uso nga sarina sa una is very didilyo kana ang jacket jud kayo, balong Tagalog, Filipiniana. But right now lahi ang atong style, di ba? Natin gitawag na rich tita outfit, tito outfit. Ingin ana na siya. Okay, so one of the biggest influencer here when it comes to our fashion sense is the social media, no? Kay na-influence man ta sa ubang culture, labi nagdako tag access, no, sa ubang culture, so pag usa sila daw manamit. Next we have culture provides acceptable behavior. So for example, no, naa ka sa simbahan, so dili ka magsaba-saba kay dili man na pwede. You are socially aware that it is not appropriate to be noisy inside sa simbahan, di ba? So next we have culture is diverse. So you can go to different places and you will understand that ang lahi-lahi nga lugar, lahi-lahi po og batasan, and then lahi-lahi po sa lingwahe. Say for example sa Bisaya, for us Cebuano, the way we talk with one another is normal, nagsiningka. Pero sa Tagalog para sa Tagalog kay nagsiningkahay na ta, nagkinasukuay, but for us that's normal. Okay, so that is why culture is diverse. Lastly, culture is ideational. So example, this is sets out as an optimal example that are expected by the people socially. So for example, gi-expect nato nga ang taga-iigafe mga buutan, mga kugihan, inana ba? Social expectations, di ba? That is culture also. Like, you can also, for example, kana pong sa girls, di ba? Up until now, nagya po yung expectations ang mga tao nga. Babae man ka. So, you are expected to pursue this kind of degree that is more fitting for them, more fitting for a woman. Diba? That is culture as educational, okay? So, now that we are done with the general characteristics of culture, let's proceed with the concept of society. So, society refers to the people who share a territory, interact with one another, and share a culture. So the word society comes from Latin word socius, okay? Meaning companion. So for example, ang komunidad sa usa ka barangay parehas og lugar, parehas og mga tradisyon, parehas og mga policies. Okay? Society teaches us how to behave, what to value, and what happens if we break the law or the norms. So, ingon pa si Auguste Comte and other sociologists describes society is the network of human relationships. Now, how do sociologists view society? So, sociologists define society in two ways. Okay, we have first conceptually and then in substantial terms. So, in conceptual terms, this is a system of relationships, while in substantial terms, this is a group of people living and interacting with one another. Now, according to according to McIlver, alongside with Charles Page, okay, according to them, society is a web of social relations which is constantly changing. Sabi Bisaya pa, kung ang usa ka tawo sigig away, makaapekto na siya sa grupo. Kung magtinabangay, mas mulig-on ang panag-uban. Okay? So, let's have this one. So, okay. Okay, so this time, let's have... Okay. Asa naman to siya? The perspective, the sociologist philosophical perspective. Okay. For Auguste Comte, he's the founder of sociology. He termed the word sociology, amora man siya. And then we have Karl Marx. He developed a complex theory of history and society, which has greatly influenced the modern sociology. So, and then we have George. For him, society was the pattern interactions among members of a group, the sum of responses to ordinary life events. Okay, now we have the general characteristics of society. So first, we have society is abstract. Okay, so these are the social connections that are imperceptible and theoretical and can simply acknowledge them yet can't see or contact them. Next, we have likeness and difference in society. So, society needs both similarities and differences to function. So, if all people are exactly alike, there will be no growth or innovation. So, kinahanglan na usa nga malahi, di ba? For example, sa pamilya, lahi o katungdanan ang mama, ang papa, o ang anak. Kung para sila og role, walay progress, di ba? So next, we have cooperation and conflict in society. Okay. So society is based on cooperation but also has conflict due to differences, di ba? As I've said a while ago, lahi-lahi ang society. For example, ang barangay sa usa ka community magtinabangay pero usahay na ay lalis or away kay lahi-lahi silang opinion, lahi-lahi og pamagi, but that is normal. Okay, next we have society is a process, not a product. Okay, so we need to understand that society continues to change. It evolves over time. So new practices appear, na yung mga bagong practices nga maabot. The old ones, they also fade. Okay? That's natural. That's just the process. Okay? And lastly, society is a system of stratification. Okay? So there's classification, no? There are positions like the people are in the higher ups, apoy sa ubos. Okay? Okay. So for example, sa eskwelahan no, na ay principal, natay mga teachers, o mga students. Okay. So now that we are done with that, let's proceed with the concept of politics. Okay? So the term politics comes from the Greek word polis, which means city-state. Okay? So politics involves power, governance, and decision making. So to study politics is to study how power is used to make collective decisions for society. For example, kung ang barangay captain maghimo og policy, that's politics. Okay? So now let's proceed with the characteristics of politics. So first is use of threat or legal force. Okay? This allows the legal authority to use force. Next, we have interactions among institutions and people. It could be internally, vis-a-vis, or other societies. Next, we have interdependence of parts. Okay, so when the properties of one component in a system change, all the other components and the system as a whole are also affected. So, for example, ang budgeting sa usa ka barangay nasayop. The other budget that is intended for that project will also be affected. So, ana ang interdependence sa atoang politics. So, this time, now that we are done with the lesson 2, we will proceed with our lesson 2 written work number 2.1. So I want you to do this activity. Give the proponent of the following perspectives. So inyong button is maghatag lang mo sa pangan. You read the definition, the sayings, and then isuot kung kinsa ang nagsulti ana. Okay? And then after that, you will answer in the following in 5 to 7 sentences. So how do you differentiate culture, society, and politics in your own perspective? Okay? And then that's it. If you have questions, you can ask me. By the way, you can use a bond paper or one whole sheet of paper for this one. Okay? So that will be all. Thank you so much, class, and see you soon. I hope that okay ra mo diha. And then that's it. Thank you so much, everyone. That's our lesson 2 for understanding culture, society, and politics.